It's been interesting because since your article dropped, I gotta say, it has got all the buzz. If you are on X, if you're on Instagram, TikTok for the young kids, you know that CaitlinClark is the Time Athlete of the Year. How has your 24 hours been since the articles dropped?
It's been awesome, and just the reaction. Obviously, people so excited not only about women's basketball but about women's sports, and how excited and deserving not only myself but just women's sports as a whole.
Not everyone was applauding for CaitlinClark, who just became the first WNBA player to earn Time Athlete of the Year.
Sheryl, I'll start with you. What's your reaction to CaitlinClark winning Time Magazine Athlete of the Year?
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm curious to know who the other candidates were.
Sheryl, a four-time WNBA champion, unexpectedly swoops in, and now Clark's biggest critic has some choice words about the victory. In this video, we're breaking down the controversy, the backlash, and the unexpected way Clark is handling it all. Clark had the ideal opportunity to make a comeback, but instead she did something that left everyone stunned. This is why her response is a masterclass in grace and leadership.
I've grown up a huge women's sports fan, whether it was basketball, whether it was soccer, whether it was volleyball, you go down the list. Like, I grew up loving it and watching it, so it's pretty special. Like, it doesn't really feel real that I get to be here, but an amazing honor.
After earning Time Athlete of the Year, CaitlinClark is ecstatic, but not everyone is drinking champagne. Enter on the Gills Arena podcast, SherylSwoopes, a former WNBA player who is now an unexpected critic, is causing controversy.
The fact that that's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year is pretty special. And my question is, like the criteria, is it based off of her performance on the court, which, yeah, she had a great year, or is it more about the impact that she had on the game this season?
Rather than applauding Clark, Swoopes rambles on and raises doubts about the very standards that made Clark the winner. I'm attempting to comprehend the requirements. It's like witnessing a train catastrophe in slow motion as Swoopes says her things with a hint of skepticism, yet she goes on to list other names that seem more deserved. Fans and commentators are left perplexed as to what exactly is happening in this situation.
This is just probably just the impact of the sport, a little bit of it's a little bit of everything, right? So,
yeah, I mean,
when you think about, you just think about athletes of this year.
Yeah.
It's her, the swimmer.
What swimmer?
For Olympics.
Katie Ledecky.
Her performance.
Shit, you can put
in
Simone Biles back in there.
You can put her back in there. Probably LeBron from his Olympics.
As we look more closely at Swoopes' remarks, a pattern becomes apparent. This isn't the first time she's made fun of Clark. Recall how she was there to cheer her on when Clark broke the NCAA scoring record? She questioned whether Clark's accomplishments were truly that remarkable considering how the game has changed since the record was first set.
Put A'ja Wilson in there.
That was just basketball.
So that's what I'm saying. Was it just the performance on the court, or
it's global?
Else?
I think it's everything.
Yeah,
it's everything.
How about A'ja Wilson? She queries, is this just a mistake or is there something more going on here? At a moment that leaves everyone listening in shock. The future of women's basketball is at odds with the old guard versus new star tradition, and the sports face is now watching from the sidelines as Clark enthralls a new generation of fans. Swoopes' response reveals a deeper conflict simmering beneath the surface.
It just keeps putting a light on the sport for everybody else to eat. And, sometimes, just as athletes, we are competitive by nature. And, we don't like when someone's getting something that we don't think they deserved, right? When we've been in a game.
The basketball world is in shock because a player who once inspired many young athletes, including a young CaitlinClark, now comes across as bitter and out of touch. Her comments start contentious discussions on social media, with fans and other players offering their opinions on both sides. However, this is where things start to get really interesting. While Swoopes is busy casting doubt, Clark's star only seems to shine brighter. Her record-breaking performances and growing fan base speak volumes. The contrast couldn't be more stark. One player is looking backward, while the other is charging headlong into the future of women's basketball.
It's fun to reflect back and think about all the amazing things that I was able to accomplish and the people that I got to do it with. I think that's what's made it so special is I've had my family with me the whole time, my friends, amazing teammates, amazing coaches, and it wouldn't be possible without all of them. So just really fortunate.
How does Clark respond to this unexpected criticism, then? Does she take the high road or does she retaliate, adding fuel to the fire? Getting over the drama, Clark's reaction to this dispute could define not only her career but also the future of women's basketball. Get ready because Clark is going to show us all what she is truly capable of. If you have watched this far and found the video entertaining, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We understand that watching this video requires some time, so thank you, and let's get back to the action.
The number of Indiana Fever fans I saw in young girls and the way they were lighting up, I mean, you have represented something so special for the sport, but you've drawn eyes to a game that you've always grown up loving. What does that mean to you?
You know, it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around because I'm so focused and so competitive and I love the game. I love playing. I love being in front of the fans. But over the course of probably the last 2.5 years, it's all kind of changed where, you know, it's hard to get a ticket whether we're at home or whether we're on the road.
How does Clark respond to this unexpected criticism, then? Does she take the high road or does she retaliate, adding fuel to the fire? Getting over the drama, Clark's reaction to this dispute could define not only her career but also the future of women's basketball. Get ready because Clark is going to show us all what she is truly capable of. If you have watched this far and found the video entertaining, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We understand that watching this video requires some time, so thank you, and let's get back to the action.
A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then you continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing.
Clark addresses the situation head-on in her Time interview with a degree of maturity that is turning heads rather than simply brushing it off. CaitlinClark's ascent to fame was accompanied by a welcome boost in self-awareness.
Thoughts on CaitlinClark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA. Have been instrumental, obviously, in building that league to what it is. Okay.
So what's the
But Clark doesn't stop there. She continues by highlighting the legends that helped make her accomplishment possible, and guess who she names? Yep, Sheryl Swoopes herself. This move demonstrates that Clark is not just a fantastic player, but also a class act off the court.
Remember my first WNBA game, one of the best memories of my childhood, and I think very influential in wanting to be a professional basketball player, wanting to be a great person, having those people to look up to and want to be like one day. So I just try to embody that every single day, and I feel like I have good perspective on, like, basketball isn't my everything. Like, yeah, I love it, and I get to do it, and it's given me a lot of really great opportunities, but at the same time, you know, win or loss, I feel like I try to be the same person.
Clark's reaction goes beyond simply taking the high road. It's a masterclass in how to accept criticism with grace and transform a potentially bad circumstance into a good one. She's not only defending her personal accomplishments, she's also raising the discourse surrounding women's basketball as a whole.
How you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit,
Yeah.
but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career.
The difference between Clark's strategy and Swoopes' remarks is so obvious, as Swoopes queries and critiques Clark's decision to celebrate an uplift is a tactic that is gaining her more admirers and effectively silencing her detractors. But don't ever assume that her generosity is a sign of weakness. Her words and deeds speak loudly, and she is demonstrating that you don't have to bring down others in order to elevate yourself. In fact, by elevating those who came before you, Clark is cementing her own legacy in the history of basketball.
But But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, like, I try to just be real and authentic and, you know, share my truth. And I think that's very easy for me. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
As this debate comes to an end, one thing is certain. Clark's answer has made what might have been a time of division for women's basketball into one of unity. She has demonstrated that it is possible to be a gracious leader off the court and a ferocious competitor on the court.
And you'll never be able to make everyone happy. And someone that knows that at the age of 22, like, let's go.
I mean, I think I have good perspective on that. And like I said in the article, which turned out amazing, I thought it was great. I said, I feel like one of my best skills is just blocking things out. Like, I don't really, the only opinions I really care about are the people that I love, my teammates, my coaches, the people inside of our locker room, the people that I see every single day, and I know have my best interests at heart too.
However, this is not where the narrative ends. Clark's elegant return has paved the way for a more extensive discussion. Get ready for the flood of answers that will likely surprise you as you watch how the rest of the basketball world responds to this demonstration of maturity and sportsmanship.
How would you describe what's next for CaitlinClark, coming off of a Rookie of the Year, coming off of breaking records? And I mean, there's so much, it seems like there's so much potential. Like, I keep saying you're only 22, but I just wonder how that translates to you, what the future looks like.
Clark's victory and swift response sparked a basketball firestorm in addition to making headlines. Everyone has something to say, and opinions across the world are circulating more quickly than a Clark three-pointer. Let's examine the responses in Clark's corner. We have a group of admirers are swarming social media with their affection for the young star, complimenting her grace under pressure and criticizing Swoopes for what they perceive to be sour grapes. One fan replied on Twitter that Clark is already a future legend and that Swoopes could do better in sportsmanship.
I'm just scratching the surface of the things I want to accomplish, and, you know, I'm 22. I'm still figuring out life. I'm still figuring out where everything's going to go, and you know, I love basketball, and basketball has brought me so many amazing things, and that will continue to be probably my first passion and everything that I enjoy. And hopefully once basketball ends, I can still find things that I'm really passionate about and can do. Hopefully be an owner of a sports team one day, or open a restaurant. I don't know. Something fun. A little less stressful, maybe. Maybe a coffee shop or something. I don't know.
The million-dollar question is how all of this drama will impact Clark's WNBA future. While some believe the controversy will put additional pressure on her in the upcoming season, others believe it will only make Clark more determined for an even more successful season, possibly earning her an MVP award. However, the truth is that regardless of your position, there is no denying Clark's influence on the game. WNBA ticket sales are skyrocketing. The stats don't lie. People who have never seen a women's game before are turning in to watch Clark play, and TV ratings for women's college basketball have never been better. There is no doubting that Clark is a phenomenon who is altering the game. She is more than just a player.
How do you see kind of the impact that you're having on the game itself, especially the women's game? Like, we see now more kids taking the shot, 30 feet. Like, you've come in and done something unique to the game that we haven't seen. Can you describe what that is?
What does all of this mean for women's basketball, then? Well, that's where things start to get fascinating, because it's not just about one athlete or one trophy anymore. Rather, it's about the sport's future, and that future appears to be more promising than ever.
What people love the most is just the emotion that I play with. I think it's easy to connect with. I think they can feel that I'm real on the court. But also when I step off the court, like, I try to be like very authentic and very genuine and make as much time for people as I can. Like, I never want to big time anybody or whatever it is, because like I said, I was just that young girl that was screaming for an autograph, and that takes 10 seconds of somebody's time. So try to do that as much as I can, but yeah.
While everyone's attention is on Clark and Swoopes, a quiet revolution in women's basketball is taking place. It will be so deep that the present issue may seem like a minor historical footnote. Are you prepared to see the wider picture?
Just that you can achieve your dreams. Like, this is something I always dreamed of. Maybe I didn't dream it on this magnitude of being here at this event with time. I didn't really write that down, but obviously, you know, I was always somebody that dreamed and wanted to achieve things, and my parents never told me, you know, you can't. It was always like, go try. Like, they probably knew at times I would fail, but they let me fail, and I think that taught me a lot of lessons about myself and about just life in general. And I think that's helped me become the woman I am, the basketball player I am, and hopefully the leader I am, and just continuing to grow in that.
There are more than 2 characters in this Clark Swoopes drama. It's drawing attention to how women's basketball is evolving, revealing a conflict between the old guard and the new generation of talent and changing the sport as a whole. However, success also brings with it difficulties, and the WNBA is at a crossroads. How can they capitalize on this newfound attention while balancing the needs of new stars and paying tribute to their legends? It's a fine line to walk.
Along the way, I know that you've met so many people and you've talked about the young women before, but are there some encounters or interactions that have stuck with you over time?
As well as just keeping on growing in that. Not to mention the strain Clark is under. Not only is she bearing the aspirations of her team, but the league's future is on her shoulders. But this is where things start to get very fascinating. Clark's influence extends beyond basketball. She is transforming the perception of women's sports in general. Young girls are grabbing basketballs and aspiring to be the next. CaitlinClark is at the forefront of the shifting debate surrounding women's sports, and adults are paying attention as well.
There's a lot of things that just really put life into perspective, whether it's somebody that is sick or a young kid that was in the hospital and their, you know, one request was to come watch your game and come courtside and get to meet you, and that takes 2 minutes of your time, and that's going to make their entire life. Or whether it's the people that have signs that say, I've traveled from Canada or wherever it is, they've traveled miles and miles, spent a lot of money to have 2 hours where they're probably never going to interact with you and just are watching you on a court. I'd always try to remind myself of that going into a game, is like, people are spending a lot of time, money, and resources to come here and like enjoy this experience with you.
The million-dollar question is, what's next for Clark in the league? Will the WNBA be able to maintain this momentum? Will more young stars follow in Clark's footsteps? How will the league manage the inevitable growing pains that come with such quick growth? Despite all the criticism, there is no denying Clark's good influence on women's basketball. We are no longer merely watching basketball, we are witnessing history being made as the game is changing before our very eyes, and we have front-row seats to the action. The future of women's basketball is here, and it is more promising than ever. She is not just altering the game, she is elevating it. Despite the controversy, CaitlinClark's victory as Athlete of the Year is more than simply a personal accomplishment. It marks a turning point for women's basketball. Clark's grace under fire demonstrates that she is a leader who is transforming the game on and off the court in addition to being a scoring machine. Her influence extends beyond statistics, as she is attracting new supporters to women's basketball, increasing ticket sales, and motivating an entire generation of young athletes. She offers a strong example for players in other sports with her ability to take criticism well. As spectators, we are no longer only watching games. We are also seeing the development of women's basketball in real time. Do you agree? If so, let us know in the comments, like, and subscribe so you don't miss anything. Clark's ascent signals the start of a new age in which women's sports will dominate the attention and deserve it. The game will never be the same. We'll see you in the next one. Click the video on the screen.